G'day everyone, Jake here, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to answer the question that I have received the most times on this trip, which is why a Prius? I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why I chose a Prius as my vehicle of choice for my big lap around Australia and why I believe it's a great car for car camping. I'll go into some of the modifications that I've done to the Prius to make it a bit more suited for car camping and stealth camping. If that interests you, or you're thinking about doing a big lap around Australia or a big road trip and you're wondering what kind of car might be suited to car camping and traveling as a solo traveler, then keep watching. Hopefully you get some value out of my car camper tour. A couple of things I did want to say before I started the car tour. This setup may not suit everyone. This is just the way that I am traveling right now, which is I'm working remotely 2 days a week, so I need to be in a hotel or hostel or somewhere that's quiet and has Wi-Fi for 2 days out of every week, and therefore I'm never really far away from a grocery store or never far away from a restaurant. I don't really have any qualms about paying, you know, 15 bucks for a meal. This isn't one of those crazy setups where you gut the whole interior, put in storage and a bed and a toilet. I've seen some pretty crazy stuff on YouTube, but this is a pretty standard job. But something that also I wanted to not make too many big modifications that I couldn't just sell the car down the line if I wanted to. So anyway, with that in mind, let's get into the tour. Okay, so this is my 2013 Toyota plug-in hybrid Prius. It's an import from Japan, so it's different to the Australian models that you would typically find here. This model actually has a 1.8 litre engine and a 4.4 kilowatt hour battery, hybrid battery in the middle of the car, which is 4 times larger than, I guess, the typical Australian Priuses. The main reason I bought this car for my road trip is reliability. It is one of the most reliable cars out there, and if you Google top 10 most reliable cars, I guarantee you Prius is going to be somewhere on that list. Why is it reliable? Well, a couple of reasons. Toyota is just a really good manufacturer. They coined the Toyota production system, which I'm quite familiar with because I worked in the manufacturing industry for 5 years and did lean manufacturing projects. But apart from that, essentially it doesn't have as many mechanical components. Typical cars have, you know, things like gearboxes, they have things like starter motors. Energy recovery and the braking mechanisms means that the brakes don't actually work as often because it uses the hybrid engine to brake. You know, it doesn't have a starter motor because it also uses the hybrid engine to start the engine. Things like that just basically mean there's not as much wear and tear on Priuses that you have to deal with. So you do service it, you don't have to service as many components. So anyway, reliability, that is the first reason why I chose the Prius. The second reason is probably what most people think of when they think of a Prius: fuel efficiency. I'm currently looking at my trip meter, which reads 5,685 kilometres on this trip so far, and I've averaged 19.5 kilometres per litre, which translates to around 5.1 litres per 100 kilometres. Let's do some quick maths and work out the savings that I've made by using a Prius on this trip as opposed to using my old car, which had a standard 6-cylinder 4-litre engine. My old car achieved a fuel efficiency of 11.5 litres per 100 kilometres, and the Prius has got me on this trip 5.1 litres per 100 kilometres, which is a savings of 6.4 litres per 100 kilometres, or 0.064 litres per kilometre. On this trip I've done 5,865 Ks, so that's a savings of about 375 litres overall, or at about $1.80 a litre, $675 just from having the Prius on this trip as opposed to my old car. The third reason why I chose the Prius is because it's like a little generator on wheels. Currently I have the air conditioning running and the engine is not on. The great thing about a Prius is that until the hybrid battery, which is under there, until that gets low, and you can see up there how full it is, until the hybrid battery gets low, then the engine doesn't need to turn on. But as soon as the hybrid battery gets low, the engine will turn on for about 30 seconds or so just to charge back up the hybrid battery. And maybe I'll wait until that happens and oh, there you go. So the engine just kicked on And I guess if you, there you go. So the engine is now charging the hybrid battery. That'll just stay on for the next 30 seconds or so, just to charge up the battery. I do currently have the fridge running as well, so it might be pulling a little bit of current, especially now that I just turned on the air conditioning. The main benefit to this is you don't have to run the engine to get power out of the car. So I guess that's it in a nutshell. You can have power whenever you like. See, I'm still running my fridge. That's still going. I've still got the air conditioning on, and the engine is now off. And then if I wanted to, I could, set up the inverter in the back. I could make, coffee, do whatever, and it'll just pull from the hybrid battery until it gets low, and then the engine will just turn on again. So it's a really, really cool feature, and it's very handy for car camping. Okay, let's start the tour of the car. This here is my laundry bag. No one cares about that. I just throw that in the back there. This is basically my bag where I keep all my clothes. I travel pretty light, and I use these waterproof sacks that I usually take camping. This one's full of clothes, clean clothes that is. This one's full of socks, underwear, and singlets, I think, which I'll start to use when I get further north, I imagine. I've got warmer clothes, so beanie, gloves, thermals, all that just in there. I just don't use it very often, so I figured I'd put it in another bag. Got some flossy things. Got a head torch. If you watched my video recently where I climbed the bluff knoll, I utilised that baby. I've just got gas. I don't use it, only if I go out backcountry camping, in which case I would use my cooking stove as well. This is a inflatable pillow. These are waterproof matches, which is kind of cool. And that is literally it. Oh, that's a little mosquito net thing, a head net. I'll place some links in the description. That has come in handy a couple of times actually, and this is a blow-up pillow for camping as well. So a bit of camping gear, not really necessary for car camping. I don't really use it. This is just because I know I want to do some camping at some point. I've just taken my bags out of the back here just so I can show you this. This is really cool. This is a work chair mat that I've just bought on Amazon and then cut to suit the back, and it doesn't go anywhere because this stuff kind of sticks to this stuff. But it's been so good because when I'm making coffee and stuff in the back here, it just acts as like a little spill resistant thing just to keep the car nice and clean. So yeah, you might be wondering what this thing is. This is my bedroll. I'll set up the car for sleep mode in a sec, and then we can go through that. But at the moment, this is kind of like daytime running mode, which I flip it each night. I'll just go through what I've got in the back here. This is just another bag. This has all my work stuff in it. That's just got, laptop, cords, mouse, all that sort of stuff. This bag is like my day pack, day-to-day stuff. It's got my, toiletries in it, toothbrush. It's got my Snap Fitness card and everything. So this is what I take to the gym when I want to shower or when I want to, go to the gym. These are my pillows. I might put them in the back. I spilled something on that one. That's the only reason it doesn't have a cover on it. Cover's in the laundry. This is my fridge. It's a Dometic CFX 3, and this thing is awesome. I really shelled out for this one. I think I paid like $850 and I think that was on sale at BCF. I forgot to say when I was filming this that I originally had a much cheaper fridge when I was in the US doing my previous trip in the Prius, but unfortunately I couldn't figure out how to import it to Australia. I could have tried to go with another cheaper fridge here in Australia, but I knew that I would be using this fridge for the rest of my adult life, so I wanted something that was pretty robust, and Dometic seemed to be the best choice. It comes with an app, it connects straight to your phone, and you can control everything from there. It's a pretty cool fridge, and it's held up pretty well so far. This is one of those little sitting mats, and when I set up the sleeping pad, I put that on there just to make sure that it's not damaged by... I've also got this thing up here as well that I kind of bunch up just here, because there's this little bit that sits right on that one, and a couple of times it's dropped down and I didn't want it to damage it. So In this I've just got random toiletries, batteries, one of the PLBs, band-aids, just some other random stuff. That goes on the top there, and then these seats come down. I'll show that in a second. So I just keep water bottles pretty much everywhere, just so I've always got water on hand. This thing is just one of those cereal containers that I've turned into a bin. Very handy just to have something that you can reach over and open up and just put something in and then close, so it obviously doesn't smell in your car. So that's my little bin. This is just for tea, coffee. This one here is for work clothes that I really haven't had to use too much. That was if I was going to go into the office, which I haven't really been going into the offices as I've been traveling around. But anyway, this is a bag of shoes, just in a Coles bag, and my shoes just sit there. And then this is just some foot smelling stuff, because sometimes my feet stink. I do a lot of hiking, what can I say? What else? This is just a 30,000 milliamp power bank. So I just keep that attached to the car, and then when I need power, I take it out and I just use it to power whatever. And that is pretty much daytime mode. I will put the car in sleep mode, and then we'll come back and have a look at how that all works. Okay, we have set up the bed. Welcome to Hotel Prius. So underneath here, I think I talked about it before, I have the sitting mat, the camping sitting mat. This thing here is simply acting as a bit of a cushion for this part of the seat that folds all the way down. And then I've just got this miscellaneous box, and that kind of makes everything pretty flat. This is something I got from Clark Rubber. On the inside, I've actually opened it up for you so you can see. On the inside is I think it's a 2.5 inch foam mattress from Clark Rubber. Just recently I added to that because I found that this was kind of degrading, and I'm a side sleeper, so I was getting a little bit of a sore hip. But yeah, you can kind of see the setup there. It's one bit of foam mattress, it's another inch of foam mattress, and then the rest is just on top of this and on top of the fridge. So it seems to work really, really well. The question I get asked most, do you fit? The answer is I'm 5'10" and I fit perfectly. I've got probably an inch above and an inch below me. So I reckon even someone who's 6 foot could potentially fit in here, especially if you're a side sleeper. So anyway, something to consider. I don't know if you can see these. But these are some rain guards. They have been awesome on this trip because it has rained a little bit while I've been down here in Margaret River. So I just kind of roll it up just to there, and same thing with the other side. No bugs are going to get in and no rain gets in, and the whole car doesn't fog up and get all misty and everything. I'll leave a link for them down below. You can get them on Amazon, they're not very expensive. And these ones actually clip in, but you can get ones that just stick on, and they worked for me for 6 months. So I don't see an issue with those ones. Something that is cool about my little sleep mode, I've got these things, I just got them on Amazon. I've just got a beanie up there because sometimes it does get quite cold with the windows down. Eye mask, I've got some earplugs as well, just depending on where I'm camped up. I've got my Kobo e-reader here. Just a nice little spot to store that. What am I reading at the moment? Day of the Triffids. Good book, old book, but good book. So that just sits at the top there. And then I've just got, wet wipes, just for the old wet wipe shower, which anyone who camps should be very familiar with. So yeah, that is the setup. Something I didn't say before is I got all the back 4 windows tinted. So this one here, this one, and this one, and I got it 5% limo tinted. Then I just put these socks on the passenger windows. Okay, something else that works really, really well that my mum and I brainstormed and then came up with this little solution is this curtain used for sleeping. So there are a couple of little, I think we got all this from Spotlight, all the materials used to make it, and then all the materials, all the Velcro as well. So there's 2 bits of Velcro tape there, and what we've done is buy a bit of fabric from Spotlight, blackout fabric. Mum then helped me to sew in this backing of the Velcro to the top of it, and then what we did, we actually just safety pinned them on because yeah, it's just Velcro that's stuck to there. And that actually Velcros quite nicely onto the top of the car here, and it's 100% removable. And that kind of, so you've got these bits of Velcro that Velcro to this, and then you've got these bits on here that Velcro to these. So it's a bit of both. These are quite strong on the side here, and these aren't so strong on the top. So you kind of need both of them. And then we've got these little dots that just stick on like that. We also sewed a slit into the whole fabric just so I can pull it across like that and just check out, you know, ooh, where is everyone? What's everyone doing? I'm in a car park. There are weird people around me, blah, blah, blah. So you can see it gets really dark in here. And also fair bit of privacy. If I were to just close this door, close this, right, and someone walks past this car, you literally cannot see a single thing. So in sleep mode, it just looks like a parked Prius. Nothing more, nothing less. So I can camp absolutely anywhere I like. And what I've taken to doing recently is Googling where is the most wealthy neighborhood in X place, wherever I am at the time. And whatever the wealthiest neighborhood is, I assume is going to be probably the safest. And so I just find like somewhere like an oval or anywhere like this. This is actually an RV camping area just down there. I'll just park my car up here for the night. No one will know any different. None the wiser, not hurting anyone. I don't leave any rubbish. I'll make sure I go to the toilet and everything before night time, and I typically don't arrive somewhere until I want to go straight to bed. I actually had the car raised. So I had a lift kit delivered from Prius Off-Road. They're a company in California. And then I had SPC Auto, I believe, in Adelaide, who were kind enough to install them for me. I wasn't mechanically minded enough to do it myself. They installed the spacers for me, and it essentially just lifted the Prius by 1.5 inches, which has been awesome when I'm going to campsites. It just means that I don't have to worry as much about the Prius bottoming out, which was a bit of an issue the last time I had a Prius and the last car camping trip I went on. So I think it was about $600 delivered from the US, that's Aussie dollars, and then it was probably another 500 to have SPC install it. Okay, so one thing I did forget to talk about just before is the inverter setup. So if I just roll that back, in this storage area I have a couple of things. I've got a cup, I've got some laundry detergent I'll just keep there. I have a bottle of wine that I'm gonna drink when my parents get here. I've got some tools, some duct tape, and a couple of these little Toyota wrenches that actually work specifically for the bolts that are on the battery, so just in case. Also down here I've got some vinegar just for clearing out. It's a spray bottle of vinegar, so it's quite handy to have. I really like them. They just quickly clean out and then you can just, you know, wipe it out, whatever. I've got my little DJI Mini 2 that is featured recently in one of my most recent videos. I also have a power inverter, a kettle, and the last thing that's in here is a tent. Oh, and in here I've got a tire puncture repair kit, handy to have when we're on the road. Glad I haven't had to use it. In this little nook of the car, I have DIY'd an inverter install. In here I have an Anderson connector with, I think it's 2 gauge cables. That is connected to the positive and negative terminals here, one there. And I've got a fuse running in between them. But I've been thinking of making a video on how I actually installed this because I did it all from scratch. So if that interests you, let me know and I'll make that video and post it later. I have this pure sine wave 1000 watt inverter. And then so that just clicks into place like that. And then, and now I have 2 power sockets, 1 USB outlet to power whatever I want, as long as it's below 1 kilowatt. So I have I think it's a 500 watt, oh, it's a 700 watt kettle here, little pop-up kettle. It's kind of cool, a little bit cute. And I'll just throw water in that. That just pops up like this. I'll just put water in that, and it takes probably, I don't know, 2 minutes to boil water, and we're away. One thing I forgot to mention, when you are running the 1000 watt inverter, if you do decide to do a setup similar to this, you need to have the car in ready mode, which means you need to depress the brake pedal and press the start button, because that actually engages the high voltage battery. If you just put it in accessory mode, just pushing the start button once or twice, then you have essentially not engaged the traction battery, and it won't engage the engine to charge the 12 volt. You'll just be draining your 12 volt. So pretty important thing to note, make sure your car is in ready mode. Otherwise, you're going to be draining your 12 volt and you're going to be left without power. It'll be no good. Okay, I think that's probably enough. I have gone around the car and just done everything that I could possibly think of, given you a bit of a tour and talked about some of the modifications that I've done to the Prius to make it a bit more homey and car campable, if that's a word. So yeah, if there's anything you wanted me to cover in more depth, I'm happy to make another video about that. Just leave me a comment down below. If there's any other questions anyone has, just leave me a comment and I'll get back to you. But yeah, it's an awesome car. I've loved it so far on my camping trip. But yeah, if you were thinking of car camping in a vehicle or doing a road trip in a Prius, then I hope this video has helped you. And if it has, give me a like. And if you want to follow my travels around Australia, which I will be doing for the next, say, 5 months or so, 4 months or so, and consider subscribing. And other than that, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. The Prius says thank you too. Want to say about the car before we get started? What is this? What is this? If you're someone who's considering car camping, things like regenerative braking, regenerative, Jesus, regenerative. What is wrong with me? Things like regenerative, oh, now I've said it too many times. It just sounds wrong. Things like energy recovery in the braking mechanisms means that the brakes don't actually work as often.